There are good teachers, there are bad teachers.
Right.
There are easy subjects, there are difficult subjects. Right. But the best part of your studies and your understanding happens in the classroom and in the clinics. During my UG, I was notorious for catching the first bench in class.
Fortunately, this is an amalgamation of dentistry and something what I like listening to people's. I'm a good listener, so I love to listen to people.
Okay.
And
if your graduate degree teaches you more about yourself, then your postgraduate degree teaches you more about the world. It's going to be a Hindi blockbuster. There's going to be pyar and dhoka and, there's going to be dances around trees.
Action.
There are going to be fights. There's going to be thrilling moments. There's going to be everything.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, everybody should do a postgrad.
And a lot of comedy also.
A secret.
Okay.
I didn't want to do a master's in a clinical branch.
Wow.
My
Why?
real love was oral pathology. Okay.
I'm not laughing at oral pathology, but
I have this very weird joy
okay.
of excavating caries. I love it, just removing the...
I'm sure you love the smell of the dentine.
No, I don't like the smell.
Oh, okay.
The smell is terrible.
So I'm going to come to a last section.
Yeah.
That's the rapid fire section.
Oh no.
And I'm going to ask you a few
Viva.
questions. I did not think like that. I mean, yeah. It won't be as bad as a vibe of what it was for us. But
Okay.
no, I mean. Hi everyone, we are back with a new season, episode 1 of the MADtherapy Sessions Podcast. Our guest for today is Dr. Sumita Bhagwat. She's a professor in the Department of Conservative Dentistry and Endodontics in D.Y. Patil University, School of Dentistry, Navi, Mumbai. She's the founder of Scrubcaps by Sumita Bhagwat. Dr. Bhagwat is currently pursuing her PhD and is a big advocate for mental health and the Pink Project. The audio podcast is available on Spotify and Anchor. The links to that are in the description down below. Drop a like if you like this video and consider subscribing if you end up loving it. And also don't forget to comment down below your thoughts on the podcast. Till then, enjoy the episode. So Dr. Bhagwat, you have been teaching for the last 25 years? That's 2 decades, right?
Yeah. I suddenly realized it's a lot.
So how's that experience so far? Being a teacher?
I would say getting better and better all the time. I mean, I find myself, growing in that role. More comfortable, more assertive, more clear. And maybe telling myself that I'm doing a better job because my students, they respond better. Maybe it's a credit of the generation also. They're very responsive.
How's the current generation of students you're teaching?
They are so smart. They are so smart.
Okay.
I mean, no offense, Arib, but you've been my student too. But
True.
I must tell you that the present generation is brilliant. They are
brilliant in what sense, ma'am?
They are street smart. They know what they want. They're focused. They're not in it because somebody has told them to do it.
Right.
Whatever they do, not just dentistry, but they're pretty clear about why they're doing what they're doing.
Right.
And that itself is a very intelligent thing. Like a lot of people in my generation, we did what we did because, utne number aa gaye. Or,
You were told to do it.
Yeah. Or parents said, ye karo. Or, your friends were doing it, so you were doing. But these kids are not like that. They have dreams that they have seen 10 years back. And they are already on the road to achieving what they want. That itself is a brilliant thing.
That sounds heartening.
It is. I feel that, the world is in safer hands with this generation. They're so committed towards bigger issues. I have kids telling me, ma'am, आपके generation ने earth को बहुत damage किया है. I said, I'm sorry.
Really? Like students have come and told you that?
Yeah. I have some very friendly students who, find it very comfortable to talk.
Still, like I won't say we were scared of you. We were not scared of you, but then your aura was too much. Like we could not even say that to you.
But I hated it that I had that aura. I really didn't mean to scare people, but I think it was inadvertent.
You were one of the most the friendliest teacher, and who taught and still gave us a rope, like an easy rope to have fun. Also, I'm not saying that way, but still you had that thing, like like what thinking about it, we could like. Not in our wildest dream, we could go to Dr. Bhagwat ma'am and just like tell her this, like, we can't, like,
So that is one of the things that I feel I have improved in as a teacher.
Lucky students, ma'am.
My students are very comfortable with coming and talking about anything, anything at all. And it's non-dentistry.
And that's how it should be, ma'am.
I mean, it can be personal. It can be something, where you just need someone to talk to. Now, I had a particular student, a postgraduate.
Right.
He finished his practical exam and then he came to see me a few minutes later. And I said, yes, come in. He said, can I sit here? I said, of course you can sit here, sit. And he actually, kind of teared up.
Yeah.
And I was like, are you crying? So he said, no, madam, not exactly crying. I'm just tensed and I'm feeling better now. So I said, okay, sit for more time. Shall I make you coffee? So I feel that I'm able to be that for students.
Right.
And that is something that I really like.
I would just say the students are very lucky to have this side of you. So what are the common mistakes you see students doing on a daily basis?
If I tell you, you will be like, madam, that's very boring. But I want to say this, I want to make this statement right now because it's so simple, but nobody follows it.
Right.
Most of your studies happen if you attend class.
Okay.
And everybody attends college with this idea of, college means freedom, you've become an adult and you have fun and all. But the crux of the matter is that you are enrolled into a course to learn the trade.
Right.
And in order to qualify to learn that trade, you give exams.
Yeah.
You need to perform in those exams.
True.
And if you do not listen and learn, how will you get your, certification and move ahead? The biggest mistake that students make is a bunk class.
Okay.
There are good teachers, there are bad teachers.
Right.
There are easy subjects, there are difficult subjects. Right. But the best part of your studies and your understanding happens in the classroom and in the clinics. You don't bunk, you have mastered 60% of the subject automatically. And that is something that students just don't get around to understanding. That's really sad because during my UG, I was notorious for catching the first bench in class. And my classmates had no problems because everybody fought for the last benches.
Right.
But I would always tell them, I don't need to study this for tomorrow's Viva because I sat in the lecture, my eyes wide open, ears wide open, and I heard everything. And like I said, the generation is very smart. You give them a plot of some, sci-fi movie and they'll repeat it in a minute. Lectures are nothing.
Right.
It's not rocket science.
That's what even teachers, like what you said, like, because they can something related to, like, what happens at like a sci-fi movie or a web series. If you put an example of that while teaching as a teacher also, it helps you connect better.
So I would do that a lot. I still do it. My examples are so crazy that, when I ask questions in the Viva, they will answer the examples and not the actual concept that I'm asking.
But, any advice, those were the mistakes which students do. But I'm sure a lot of people come to you for advice. So, any one advice you would like to give to students about dentistry?
Go where your passion and your interest takes you.
Okay.
And, at the end of your BDS, if you discover that clinical dentistry is not your passion, don't be scared to make the choice that your passion is telling you to make. You can do your Bachelor of Dental Surgery and at the end of it, like some obscure part of it, but it's not the done thing. Don't be scared to make those choices. You have to accept, I think one of the most important lessons the pandemic has taught us is that, that tum logon ka wo slogan hai na, YOLO. That's true. You only do live once. And you might as well make the choices that make you happy.
True.
So there are so many people after BDS, they do a hospital administration degree. Why not?
Yeah.
Go ahead. A little philosophical, edge to my thought process. I always feel that the Almighty has already written the script. So anyway, what's going to happen is going to be what He's decided.
True.
So you might as well go on the path.
Right.
If you are destined to do some kind of a thing, like for example, Arib Deshmukh does the most amazing podcasts.
I'm trying to, ma'am.
Yeah. So if that is what you're meant to do, you should do it. And I don't know anyone who's more out of the box than you currently, as far as dentistry is concerned. And I don't know about the finances, but I'm sure it makes you very happy.
It does. You like you said, you have to be passionate about it.
Yeah.
You have to be excited about it the next day, because this was not my first thing. I still do. I still work as a clinician, but then
of course,
out of the box things, I've tried many things, and then over a period of time they have faded away. But fortunately, this is an amalgamation of dentistry and something what I like listening to people's. I'm a good listener, so I love to listen to people.
Okay.
And I always wanted to have you on it because you
That's sweet.
Because during our UG days, you used to give us the most out of box advices during second year, third year.
Yeah.
I still remember when we used to
that's
make.
That's a bad habit that still continues.
Yeah, I still remember we used to make mistakes during cavity preparation. Used to correct us, but used to slightly taunt us in a push, used to push us, this was really good, but something like that. Yeah. So we knew we had to up the standards every time. Even internship, ma'am. And especially studying in DY under teachers like you always pushed us to do much more out of the box things. So the credit also has to start from you. If this podcast exists is because
that's so sweet, but
it's true, because DY gave us that confidence to go out of the world and be yourself. Ma'am, when you talk about the pandemic, how was it for you guys? Because colleges might have been shut. Physical lectures were not happening. So how did you cope up with it?
So one of the biggest learning curves most of the teachers had during the pandemic was going onto the digital platform for teaching. And that was a huge challenge. It was a huge challenge. Luckily, we began with our online seminars for our postgraduates.
Okay.
So that was like a training ground. So when the digital lectures actually started, I had kind of practiced with the Zoom whiteboard, actually live drawing, and then, things like that. And then, we did have to tell all the students, keep your cameras on so that they weren't dozing. But it was a very interesting platform.
So how was the transition for you guys going from the physical world to the virtual world?
Personally, for me, it was not difficult.
Okay.
I would give credit to probably my family, because all of us are very tech oriented. So, over the years, you must have seen my presence on social media has been maybe a little bit more than other people my age.
Yeah.
And we've always been very tech oriented. So, and Sun, of course, has played a huge role in, making that last final push. Mama, do this. Don't be so boring. Don't be so old-fashioned, So my transition was easy. And interestingly now what has happened is we are out of the pandemic, but many of the practices that we adopted then,
Right.
they are now becoming a reality for us. So we have a digital board now.
Okay.
So, all the functions of the whiteboard on Zoom, now in a classroom, we use a digital board.
Right.
So we have, a computer generated whiteboard, and, I would draw, teach something, pull an image from the web, pull an image from somewhere else, make sketches on it.
That is so interactive.
Very. And, make sketches on it, save that, go to the next slide, which is a blank. After 3-4 slides, go back to the previous slide and say, see, this is what I drew, and, this is what I was trying to tell you. So now correlate it with something that I taught 10 minutes later. On a normal board, I would just erase.
Right.
But, that was fun. That's really fun.
Like, what's your personal opinion about? Are you liking this whole transition to the digital teaching thing?
I'm loving it. But it is not easy for the senior teachers.
So there is a learning curve there.
Definitely. And, you have to be a tech lover.
Okay.
It's not a default setting for my generation. It's a default setting for your generation. I mean, when I bought my first smartphone, with the touch screen, I was damn nervous. I avoided it. But then friends of mine from the tech world told me that, look, 10 years down the line, everything is going to go touch screen.
True.
So buy it now. And this was like 10 years ago.
Right.
Now, buy it now, make mistakes on it, you'll get better. And
Right.
now, my God, ATM machines, luggage check-in, boarding pass issuing, everything is touch screen.
True.
Everything. You have finger IDs and you have virtual OTPs and everything is touch screen. I mean, thank God I listened to my techie friends. So I think that also is very important, that you are open to learning.
It's an inevitable thing. You have to be ready to embrace it.
True.
So, Dr. Bhagwat, you did your master's in endodontics.
Yeah.
How was that experience as a PG student yourself? Now, after having taught so many students, we're going a little bit in your PG days.
PG was fun.
Okay.
Naturally a learning curve. And, to give a bigger perspective, okay, subject-wise, yes, endo is what, the bread and butter of clinical dentistry, restorative and endo work. So I was clear that I wanted to do something that you need to do all the time. I didn't want to do something so niche that, I would get that work rarely. That was one reason for my choice. But over the period of my post-graduation, I understood one thing, that whatever you do, a post-graduation expands your mind. If your graduate degree teaches you more about yourself, then your postgraduate degree teaches you more about the world. And
wow, yeah.
I always, when I get a fresh postgraduate student posted under me, the kind of first pep talk that I give them, I always tell them that, your 3 years of MDS is going to be an experience of the whole world condensed in one building in 3 years.
Right.
So observe everything. It's going to be a Hindi blockbuster. There's going to be pyar and dhoka and, there's going to be dances around trees.
Action.
There are going to be fights. There's going to be thrilling moments. There's going to be everything.
Yeah.
So, in hindsight, everybody should do a postgrad.
And a lot of comedy also, because when we interact with PG students, they always have this funny stories about, "Arey, isne aisa kiya, isne aisa kiya." So, but those things are very memorable.
Yeah.
So, why did you choose to do masters in endodontics?
A secret.
Okay.
I didn't want to do a master's in a clinical branch.
Wow.
My
Why?
real love was oral pathology.
I'm not laughing at oral pathology, but just the fact that it was a non-clinical branch.
No, I was very research oriented, very research oriented, and oral pathology was my first love.
Okay. So then why? I mean, why endo then? ma'am?
Family pressure.
Okay.
Like non-clinical branch nahi lena, you know.
So your family is like our family.
Yeah.
Like,
You know, the bottom line is all families are the same.
True,
You know?
true.
There's a joker, there's a hero, there's a sidekick. It's all the same
So ma'am,
everywhere.
then you chose not to do oral pathology and chose endo.
So endo was a very circumstantial choice. My favorite subject was not endo actually. My favorite subject.
There's one more secret.
Yeah. So my clinical favorite subject was oral surgery. Like
Okay.
most people, this is a very common choice. But there were too many circumstantial things because of which I had to not take oral surgery. During my internship, I learned that though I liked pedodontia, spending too much time with little kids drove me nuts. And so I realized that, you know, thank God for internship, that I understood that this choice is not for me.
Internship is a good platform to know yourself and what your likes and dislikes are.
Yeah.
But ma'am, you chose endo, even though it was not your first clinical choice.
Yeah.
So once you entered it, how was? Were you okay with the decision?
Oh, absolutely. Zero regrets.
Okay.
Zero regrets. I loved it. And
I'm sorry to interrupt, because we can't. It's too funny to. Dr. Bhagwat and
not liking endo.
No, endo and Dr. Bhagwat go hand in hand. So to not think about it, it's too funny.
So you're going to laugh at this explanation, but after I joined endo, I realized that I have this very weird joy of excavating caries. I love it. Just removing the
I'm sure you love the smell of the dentine.
No, I don't like the smell.
Oh, okay.
The smell is terrible.
So
I have a smell problem, by the way. I can't tolerate strong odors.
Okay.
But it gave me a lot of pleasure to remove carious dentine and expose healthy dentine. And I know it's very weird. I think it's a cleaning OCD because I love cleaning things. So, that OCD extends to everything. It extends to my house and my car and my cupboards and everything. I just like cleaning. So that cleaning thing, it comes in the dentine also.
So when you realize, yahan bhi hum thoda saaf kar sakte hai, like dentine, that's when you started loving it.
Yeah. And there is something very mysterious about the dental pulp. There's this beautiful saying that goes something like, some pulps are so delicate that you give them a dirty look and they'll die.
Wow.
And some pulps are so tough that you chop them with an axe and they'll grow back.
That's exactly like describing a human being,
Yeah. So I found something very mysterious about the pulp. In fact, if I'm not mistaken, sometime during the pandemic, I wrote a very romantic poem about the dentine and the pulp.
Really?
Yeah. How, the dentine is, bound to the pulp because the pulp gives it so much of nutrition and support. And the pulp's entire existence depends on the dentine staying strong. So it's like a marriage made in heaven. The dentine for the pulp and the pulp for the dentine. Together survive. Even one gets damaged, the other one is affected.
So it would not be wrong to say that the dentine and the pulp made Dr. Bhagwat love endo.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
So what was the best moment of your PG career?
I can't put a finger on it.
Any one which automatically comes to your mind?
So some really exciting treatment protocols that we got the liberty to try. So along with an oral surgery colleague of mine, we did a couple of cases of intentional transplantation.
Wow.
So extract a very bad 6, analyze the 8's root anatomy, see that it's fit, extract it, do an extraoral root canal, and place it in the socket of the 6. Mandibular, naturally. Maxillary not possible because of the tripod appearance of the roots, but that was fun. That was very exciting. And got to try a lot of, in way back in 95, 96, there were a lot of materials that now we take for granted, but they were brand new that time. So I got to try them all. That was fun.
Like silver points and everything, we just have seen in X-rays. Never got to use them, but then when you speak to people, they are like, they were one of the best materials back then.
Yeah, they were.
So, ma'am, according to you, who should do masters in endodontics if they have a choice? Or according to you, who should do a PG in endodontics?
Who? So see, in India, what happens is that a lot of decisions are determined by finance.
Right.
So I would always say, don't sell your house and do PG. Definitely, don't do that.
Yeah.
So you have to make a very balanced choice of, what your aim is ahead. Like if you see yourself not doing clinical dentistry at all, don't do PG, don't waste your money on that. But if you have a passion for, a particular part of dentistry, for example, you like restorative work or you like endo work right from your UG days.
Right.
Go ahead. Go ahead. I always tell interns that the choice of your postgraduate subject, it should be like how you choose your life partner. Don't get forced to marry someone because you will not be happy. Find your own love. There is your postgraduate subject is probably something that stays with you for practically your entire professional life.
Right.
You don't want to make a mistake in that choice. You have to waste a year if you want, but give it a lot of thought. That's very important.
So now when we go back to your BDS days, why did you choose to become a dentist in the first place?
So this is a question I get asked a lot. I love I loved all the science subjects, and I have an uncle who's a dentist in Delhi, and he was. Whenever I asked him for advice, he was very clear about what dentistry had. He was like, "There's skills of the hand.
Yeah.
There's application of your science knowledge to everything that you do.
Right.
And it's not just biology. There's physics, there's chemistry. So if you want to apply science to the human body and use the skill of your hands, then dentistry is the subject for you. And that's how it was, because I was very science oriented. In science, I was very biology oriented. So there was an opportunity for me to even pursue medicine if I wanted. But I was pretty clear that I wanted to use my hands for my work, not just my head for diagnosis.
Right.
So that's how it was.
And how was your BDS experience as a student?
Oh, a lot of fun. Lot of fun. I was a campus rat. I lived in hostel, and I was a part of a huge ladies hostel which had medical students and dental students, pharmacy, nursing, and the hostel would be locked at night at 9 o'clock. So after 9, we were like these crazy bunch of students having a blast, which is good. The place where I studied was Belgaum, and it was old-fashioned enough that we were safe, which was a very nice thing. Because otherwise, safety is a big issue when you are living alone.
True.
But I would say that once you hit your mid-teens, everyone should live alone. That is the time when your real education starts. I always felt that
staying alone and being independent.
Yes. Leaving home was the best thing I could do for myself at that age. And I keep telling my son also that from your mid-teens till you hit 30, these 15 years, they are probably the most profound years of your life. You make the best of friends, you learn the most important lessons, and you learn survival skills.
True.
And how you manage those years determines how the rest of your life goes. So you should have an opportunity to just go out there in the world and do it on your own.
Any special memory from your BDS days you would like to share with us?
I think my BDS time made me very pan-Indian.
Okay. In what sense, ma'am?
In the sense that I had classmates from all over the country.
Okay.
Yeah. Boys and girls from practically every state of India. All the variety of religions that we have in our country, all of them.
You started knowing a lot of cultures and...
Yeah. And I became I don't know if nationalist is the right word, but I became very open to Indianness. Rather than just, being from one particular community or being from one particular social structure or region. Yeah. And that was one of the nicest things that could happen, because today I can actually go to any state and tell them, okay, in this city, this one is there. In that city, that one is there. And, there are people whom I can tell, that, wo hai na, don't worry. You'll be fine that way. And it pleases me to say that I'm the same for them. So, Bombay, don't worry, Bhagwat is there.
True.
Yeah. That was probably the best thing that, I loved about BDS.
And it stays with you forever.
Oh yeah. It's a legacy. And it's a legacy that my son is now picking up. In his college, he has friends from all over the country. And he's like, Mama, it's just like what you used to say. So I said, yeah, it's like that only. It's a lot of fun.
And it also helps. He's in one of the best campuses in the country. Then a lot of people from a lot of different parts of the country are there.
Yeah.
Ma'am, so what do you think was the main difference between doing endo treatments as a BDS and then doing endo treatments as an MDS?
Okay, so I'll give this whole question a different take.
Okay.
So what is the meaning of a person who does endo after MDS? It's a person who has intensively done endo for 3 years.
Right.
And got a degree of MDS.
True.
So without the degree, a BDS person can also do endo intensively for 3 years and get that good. Right. The crux of the matter is, do you train and learn, or do you just learn it on the chair?
Got it.
So what I would suggest is a BDS person can do absolutely wonderful endo work. Train yourself. Learn from someone. Practice diligently. In 3 to 4 years, you'll be as good as an MDS. But my MDS colleagues are going to kill me for this.
Then, as a student, when you were in BDS and then when you were doing a master's, what do you think was the main difference between doing those treatments as an intern and then as a doing a master's?
So very honestly, during my internship, I must have done just 2 or 3 root canals.
Okay.
Because there was conservative posting was only of 2 months. And in that time, we had to first do endo on extracted teeth and train in order to, be fit to take up patients.
Right.
So I didn't do more than 2-3 cases, that too anteriors. And, any dentist will tell you that there's a world of difference between an anterior RCT and a molar RCT.
Right.
So yes, MDS was definitely an expansion of skills and knowledge, not to mention an additional degree.
Right.
And MDS gives you an opportunity to widen your horizons. In what way? You can actually have academics as one of your options.
Right.
A BDS person clinically can acquire all the skills that any MDS can acquire. But a BDS person will not be technically qualified to get into a teaching job.
Got it.
So I would say, bigger picture, there's no difference. It's just how you want to expand the scope of your life and what your targets are.
Got it.
In fact, I always admire the engineers of our country. They do engineering, and then after that they do anything. They trade in stock, and they open restaurants, and they go into fashion designing, and they become entrepreneurs. They do anything. And I think that's so amazing, because somewhere in those 4 years of engineering, they picked up knowledge and skills which gave them that mental liberty to pursue what they felt was, what they wanted to do. I really feel sometimes that all graduate degrees, they should give you that freedom.
And one of the reasons why I started this podcast is something similar to what you just said right now. I believe even dentists are like that, because we have guests coming on the podcast who are dentists, but they're doing so much more apart. I mean, they have not left dentistry, but apart from dentistry, they're doing a lot of things, opening cafes.
Tell me about that.
I mean, you are one prime example, and we're going to get into that now.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bhagwat, how did the Scrubcaps thing happen? I mean, I go on Instagram and I see a lot of seniors, juniors, contemporaries wearing your scrubs.
Yeah, so a funny story. During the pandemic, my son graduated from high school, and I wanted to give a party, but I couldn't because the pandemic didn't allow it. So the Scrubcaps were a gift idea for my department, my postgraduates and my colleagues, and they loved them. And the power of social media and young minds. They posted on Insta and Facebook, and I started getting phone calls from friends. We also want. So I gave it a little thought, and I thought, chalo, let's give it a shot. And just snowballed. From 7-8 prints, moved on to nearly 100 prints now. From my students and colleagues in the department, now my caps have reached Kerala, Kolkata, Kashmir, Rajasthan, Jaipur, lots of places, all over the country.
So how's the process like? I mean, do you have set designs, or people can contact you and they can customize it too?
So the idea of customization is, people want their name and their logos.
Right.
But that's not the customization from my point of view. So I'll give you an example. A veterinary surgeon in Hyderabad saw my Insta page, and she sent me a message saying that I want animal caps.
Okay.
So, I'm not a stockist. I do not stock the product. So I score for designs. I show designs. Whatever you like, I'll get a cap made for you like that. So, in fact, the name also had a very funny story behind it. I'll tell you. So this veterinary surgeon wanted dogs and birds and penguins and stuff like that. So I went through whatever was available on the internet in the online markets. Identified 5-6 cute prints, and I showed her. She selected 3-4 out of those.
Right.
So that's how it works. So, I have people who tell me, like, I remember you had asked me for Batman caps.
Right. I mean, I saw a Superman one, and I'm like, I'm sure ma'am has a Batman one, because that completes my whole set, because I have something related to Batman in my clinic practice.
Yeah.
So I wanted one, and I still want one.
Yeah, I know. So, I'm on the lookout, trust me. But, the correlation of the bat with the pandemic was so intense.
Yeah, that was too funny actually. Because when you think about it, I'm like, it makes sense why you were not.
Yeah, and another issue, a side issue is trademark.
Okay.
So if you have a particular print in mind, if it is trademarked, then it becomes next to impossible to get that print in any fabric.
Got it.
So, things like Tom and Jerry, they are so old that the trademark doesn't exist anymore. It's not valid, the patency or whatever it is that, the owner of that cartoon has, as a hold over the pattern. That's gone. So those are easy to get. But something like, Batman or the Green Lantern, Warner Brothers is killer.
What's like the weirdest request you have got from anyone for a scrub cap?
The weirdest one, I can't tell.
Okay.
Okay.
I can only guess. So
No, I would advise you not even to guess. But I've had requests for animal prints from veterinary surgeons. I've had requests for tooth prints. I've had requests for... I have this dental surgeon who loves unicorns.
okay.
So she wanted unicorns. So I found unicorns for her. Then I had this extremely new gen senior dentist. So he wanted the peace sign.
Okay.
Yeah, so I got those.
I think I've seen that on your page.
Yeah.
So how are your scrub caps different from the rest according to you?
My scrub caps are seeing applications in places which were most unexpected. So I have a friend who gifted my scrub caps, 4-5 of them, to a family member who was recovering from cancer chemo.
Okay.
And that family member told my friend that, they feel so warm on the head when you wear them. And my friend replied that that's Sumita's love in the cap. So I see my scrub caps as far more than just a scrub cap.
There's like a human touch behind it.
Yeah. And that's how, in fact, the name also came like that because I was trying to find a nice name for the caps. And in fact, it was my son who suggested, like there's bridal wear by Sabyasachi. So you should have scrub caps by Sumita Bhagwat.
Wow. Is that the plan?
So that is the label.
Okay.
That is the label, though I haven't got around to actually putting it on the cap.
Is it like the plan to have your scrub cap on a fashion show with a model walking with it?
I really don't know. But then some very high profile dental professionals are wearing my caps in very visible areas. I mean, you will find them on the social media and these are very big names. I don't want to take their names because I don't want to embarrass them, but they're wearing them in places where the caps are being noticed.
Right.
And I take that as a very warm acknowledgement of, a small effort. I like it. It feels good.
Wonderful. You're also doing your PhD.
Yeah.
So what is that about and why PhD?
I've been in research for so long that it made sense that the research should progress into a PhD.
Fair enough. Yeah.
So a particular topic that I have been studying for a very long time, and it's a very ironical topic because I don't believe in single sitting root canals at all.
Okay.
And yet my research topic revolves around single sitting root canals.
Oh, that's...
Yeah. So it's like, a dichotomy in my head. So what I have been studying over nearly 15-16 years is post-operative pain and how it can be modified with different factors.
Okay.
And so I was fortunate enough to get a wonderful guide for my PhD. And she encouraged me to, give this entire 15-16 years of research, to give it some kind of a conclusion. It's like you pursue something and then you don't go, you pursue some course and you don't go for the convocation. It's like that.
Understandably, yeah.
So, my guide really encouraged me to do it, and believe me, I'm extremely grateful.
When you talk about a mentor, I mean, you are also a mentor, right? In more,
I hope I am.
More ways than one. So, what's it about being a mentor that?
My take on it, I always feel that you should always have someone in your life who's been through what you're going through.
Okay.
And that can happen only when you talk to someone who's a little ahead in the journey. Say 5 years ahead, 10 years ahead, 15 years ahead. So what is that person? It's a mentor. Yeah. So it should be a person who's willing to share their successes and their failures and give you a little insight into that 15-year advantage they've had of seeing life and give you a fair idea of, okay, like when I chose this, this is what happened. When I chose that, that is what happened. So now use that as a guideline. Use that as a map, if you wish.
Right.
And I think everybody needs a mentor.
How has your journey been as a mentor?
Unbelievable. Unbelievable. It brings me great joy that I have students who have trusted me so much with things in their life that they probably couldn't even talk to their parents with.
True.
And I've been able to give them that kind of support and that kind of a ear. Basically, you don't need too much advice. You just need someone to listen.
True.
And that makes a big difference for many of us. Sometimes I feel that being a mother made me a better teacher, and being a teacher made me a better mother. It goes both ways. I mean,
that's quite profound. Yeah.
I don't think I would have been a good teacher if I hadn't been a mother. On the other hand, I think that I wouldn't have been hopefully a good mother if I hadn't been a teacher.
Right. Yeah. So, I mean, how has your journey been, ma'am? As a... Hello?
Yeah, it's on.
Yeah, you can hear me? Yeah, ma'am. So how has your journey been, ma'am? It has taught you a lot.
Oh, I would go so far as to say that the people who I thought I was mentoring, actually they were mentoring me. I really feel that. Because there were things that probably I needed a younger perspective. Like, for example, something like fitness. So I have a whole lot of students who take a whole lot of selfies all the time. And I was very irritated with how I looked in a selfie. That was actually my motivation. So, I would see all you young people so active and, socially present on the media. And I was maybe inspired. I always believe that I learn more than what I teach.
How has your fitness journey been so far?
Pretty good. I've lost about 15-16 kgs.
Wow.
Because I'm sure you remember a larger Dr. Bhagwat as compared to what I am now.
So what's the end goal for you? What's the ultimate goal for you, fitness wise?
The end goal is realizing it's not a goal.
Okay.
It's a journey. It's a lifestyle. And I find that having this attitude is very good. It's in the end, it's all about attitude. Even I'm not saying, that you need to be a certain shape to be happy. You just need to have a good attitude about it. Whether it's big, small, XL, triple XL, whatever it is. Having a good attitude about it is just fine.
So fitness brings food to my mind. I see a lot of delicious food content on your social media profile. What's your connection with food?
I'm crazy about food. I love cooking. I love...
I can see that totally.
I love feeding people. Maybe it's not the right kind of thinking, but I always feel that food is one of the ways in which you show love and affection.
True.
So that happens a lot. And my son has again been a good inspiration because the whole food journey started with cooking for the family. And a lot of fun.
You're also part of a Facebook, a huge group.
A huge group started by a friend, a dentist, oral surgeon actually. So during the pandemic, he started this group, and I earned the nickname of the Thane Fast.
Thane Fast.
Yeah. Because in 45 minutes, I would early in the morning cook breakfast and lunch and leave for work.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. I totally admit it's crazy. But madness.
You're also part of the Pink project.
Yeah, that's something that's very close to my heart. I around a decade back, I lost a friend to breast cancer,
Okay.
and uh, it just kind of hit a switch in my head that this was so preventable. So every year since then, I do this breast cancer awareness project at college, and also in my building, and wherever there are people ready to listen, I talk. And I have accompanied people to, scan centers because they're too nervous to go alone. Or, I bombard friends with reminders. Have you gone and got yourself scanned? Or, are you following up on things? Because basically prevention and observation is the key. And, when something is so preventable, why should somebody die of it?
Right.
So that is something very close to my heart.
But it must be taking a lot of toll on your mental health, right? I mean, you have to go out of your way to be there for someone, for a lot of people. So, because mental health in today's time is, very important. So, what's like your take on the whole mental thing?
I don't know so much about mental health, but it's more to do with the fact of figuring out what makes you happy. I mean, I think everybody's struggle in the end, no matter what phase and point in their life they are, is how I want to be happy.
Right.
And those concepts have to be very clear. And I think one is truly happy when they do something for someone else.
It does make sense, yeah, what you're saying, yeah.
Yeah, like even if I love cooking, I know that somebody's going to eat it. So that makes me happy, Or if I love teaching, but when I'm teaching, somebody is listening and learning. So, the end product is somebody else is benefiting from it.
True.
So, though your intent may be to fulfill your profession or passion, the end product is something that makes you happy. And
fulfillment.
Yeah. And that is very important. You have to identify those things and you have to push and do them.
But currently, a lot of importance is being given to, having a good mental health.
Yeah.
What will be your take on it? Because students, you're a teacher who deals with students, you have a son, you see a lot of mental stress and going on.
Yeah.
What would your advice be for them?
Talk.
Okay.
Talk. Not electronically. Call up and talk. Meet talk.
People, okay.
Yeah. Use that phone as a phone. Not just as a media tool. When two minds speak to each other, it's a different take on good, bad, ugly. It's a completely different take. You cannot have a single dimensional communication like a chat thread or an email. You have to talk. And if there's one thing I've learned in my life, it's you have to communicate.
Right.
There is no such thing as ESP and how am I supposed to keep quiet and Arib is supposed to understand that this is what she's thinking. It's not possible. You have to talk. Find anyone, find a tree, find a pet dog, talk.
Or start a podcast, like how you plan to start one.
Don't remind me. So that's another thing that is on the cards. Maybe start a podcast of some kind. Dentistry related, conservative dentistry related, but when, where, how, those things are still not down on paper. But I'm thinking about it.
But now that you've said it, it's on record, and now
and now you're going to catch my neck.
Me and people who are going to watch are going to be behind you to start one, because we all await, it would be great for us to even communicate with you in spite of not being in college. We can still communicate with you and learn a lot from you on social media platforms without being in college, and that's you can't ask
Let's see.
something better.
It's something that's on the cards.
Okay. And one more thing I wanted to ask you is, how does Dr. Bhagwat relax, unwind? You do so many things. So when you're not doing dentistry, when you're not being a mother, how do you relax? Let's say like chill.
I watch web series on OTTs and I play video games.
Video games?
I love video games.
That's one answer which I was not expecting.
Oh, I love video games. My purse right now has my tab with 5-6 of my favorite ones.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, you're getting to know a lot of secrets about...
Yeah. I told you, I always feel that my students are actually my mentors. So this is something I learned from y'all and it's fun.
I mean, we'll take the credit for that. Video games.
Yeah.
So Dr. Bhagwat, we are going to come to a last section.
Yeah.
That's the rapid fire section.
Oh no.
And I'm going to ask you a few
Viva.
questions. I did not think like that. I mean, yeah. It won't be as bad as a Viva what it was for us. But then,
Okay.
no, I mean, I'm going to keep it very nice and sweet for you.
Oh,
So,
thank you.
that's like how you kept it for us.
Did I? Oh, I'm so glad.
I mean, I still remember my final year conservative Viva. So, what's your favorite dental instrument?
Restorative, I would say diamond cover.
Okay.
Yeah.
And why?
It does the exact job that I wanted to do.
Got it.
Yeah.
And
Endo 30 number edge file. I love the sharp edge.
okay. Your favorite restorative and endo procedure? Something which you like to do often.
Restorative, I like closing diastemas.
Okay.
They look
Aesthetics,
cute.
yeah.
They look cute.
Okay.
No, I wouldn't put my finger on aesthetics, but actual closure of diastema, I find it very cute.
Okay.
And endo, probably apexification.
Okay. Great answers. Favorite TV show or web series you just watched?
Just watched, I watched The Lincoln Lawyer.
Okay.
It was good.
It's on?
It's on Netflix.
Okay.
That's my favorite genre. So law, detectives,
what did you like about it?
thrillers, murder mysteries.
Okay.
I love those.
I'm going to check it out after this. One book you recommend everyone to read once?
Roots.
Roots. Okay.
But that's not dental roots. It's a book by Arthur Haley called Roots.
Okay.
It's I may be wrong on the author. I'm sorry if I am, but the book's name is Roots.
Okay.
And the protagonist is this young African boy called Kunta Kinte, who gets stolen from his family and becomes a slave in America. Beautiful book. I'm getting goosebumps even now. It's one of the books that influenced my thinking and it influenced my sense of love for the family and my bonds with my country. It influenced me in ways that I'm still counting. Awesome book.
Your all-time favorite place in Mumbai?
All-time favorite place in Mumbai? That's a tough one. But
I mean, you can name a few, but then one thing like, I don't know, it's Sunday, let's go here. I mean, can be anyone.
Honestly, I'm a home bird.
Okay, I'll make it better. Favorite place in Thane?
Very difficult to put a finger on it.
It can anything.
But I like going by the lake. We have a lake.
The lake in Thane?
Yeah, the Yeur Lake. I like going there.
Okay, I'll take that.
Yeah.
Who's your idol? Or your inspiration?
My inspiration. My grandmother.
Okay, and why?
She was the most cheerful person I have ever met. And she was a survivor of 3 heart attacks.
Wow.
And yet, there was not an ounce of fear in her. She never lost her sense of humor. And she was always in the moment for the person who was with her. She was never with herself. So I remember a particular incident. She was admitted on hospital after her 3rd heart attack.
Right.
She was in ICU. I was a dental student that time, undergrad. I entered the ICU and I looked at her, and she tried to smile but she couldn't. And I asked her, "How are you?" And you know how she responded? She did this. "Have you eaten?" So no matter what she was going through, she was there for the person who was with her. Extremely cheerful. Extremely cheerful. That is how I hope to be always.
Grandparents are like that. They're irreplaceable.
They're amazing.
Your favorite BDS posting?
Oral surgery.
And again, why?
The thrill. Extremely exciting. Extremely exciting.
Okay. Last question for you. What's one thing you wished you did more of as a teacher when you look back in the last, say, like 25, 30 years as your experience as a teacher? What's one thing you wish you did more of?
I wish I was able to bond with my students right from the beginning, the way I bond with them now. So for me, that was a learning curve. Maybe that was, a phase of me maturing into the person that I am now. I wish that had happened earlier so that, I would have that bond right from my early days. I mean, I'm pretty sure even my old students don't think that I didn't bond, but I wish I was better.
Okay. Yeah. Very good answer. All I can say is students right now are very lucky to have you with
Thank you.
With this
Thank you.
whole because not a lot of people have this whole inclusiveness as their in their minds. Before we leave you, I forgot to ask you about the book you are about to
So
release.
I those kind of things you have that ye karke dekhna hai. So I did that with a small compilation of my poems and essays a few years back.
Okay.
Incidentally, one poem went pretty viral and I didn't get any credit for it. That was a very sad thing.
Okay.
Maybe you've heard of it, Sip Your Coffee Nice and Slow. It became Sip Your Whiskey and Sip Your Tea and all kinds of plagiarisms happened. But okay, that was also a lesson to learn. But the plan now is to intentionally write a book of conservative dentistry and endodontics as a helping hand to students. There are many textbooks.
True.
A huge number of textbooks. And it's not I'm going to discover a new planet and publish it. It's all there.
Yeah.
So the idea is to come up with some kind of a handbook or perhaps a quick glance through kind of a book so that students find it easier to face oral exams, written exams, so like a helping hand.
Yeah, so it's like a book which has students you've kept students in your mind when you're writing that book.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And any release date or anything about that?
No. Still work in progress.
Okay.
Still work in progress.
I mean, you have a lot of things going on.
I
Personal question. When you look back at the things you have done and the things you're doing now and the things you want to do, does it overwhelm you or does it make you feel happy that you're getting that opportunity, just being grateful and because you're in a position of power, but at the same time you're giving back to
so
to various
I get what you're asking me. There are different ways of living a fulfilling life, and the trick is that you get an opportunity to pursue everything that is a small dream which may not become something very successful, but at least you tried it.
Yeah.
And I think that whole thing, it grows with time. Maybe 3 months ago I didn't think of one thing, but I think of it now.
Yeah.
And maybe 3 months ago I was doing something, but now it's not so important. So these things happen.
Right.
I would say the best thing is not to overthink and do what you feel like doing. Have some focus about your targets, like you're doing something for fun, or you're doing something with an actual goal. Like, for example, I have a job.
Yeah.
So I go because I have a job and I want to do the job. But then besides the job, there's probably 20 different things that I'm doing. So today I do one, tomorrow I do another. But I feel that all these things become worthwhile when you have a supportive family.
Yeah.
And in the end,
That's so true.
So that freedom to do whatever you want within the love and safety of your family network, it's unbeatable. And I think I've been extremely blessed that my family support, my husband and son, my parents, my in-laws, and amazing students, amazing friends. I think that's one of my greatest treasures, that I have so many people who I can I have a friend who teases me, don't you have a bestie for like every year? So I said, yeah, probably I do. I have a school bestie, I have a college bestie, I have a bus bestie, I have a train bestie. So yeah, I think it's one of the hugest blessings I could have had. It's amazing.
Thank you, Dr. Bhagwat, for taking out time for this podcast. It was lovely having you on this.
Thank you.
Who would have thought, who would have thought few years back that we would be, talking together on a podcast. Yeah, but here we are, and we got to know a lot of things. I think few things much more than what we expected. A few of your secrets and a few of your ambitions, and I hope we're waiting for the podcast again from your end. So thank you. Really, very grateful to have you on this.
Pleasure all mine.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you. Done.
Okay.
Yeah, perfect, ma'am. How did you find it?
Cool. Very cool. I didn't expect it to be so cool.
Yeah, I don't think you ever saw. Also.
No, I didn't. I didn't.